Welcome to my YouTube channel, Michelle Flawless. So tonight, I'm going to be talking about my ex-boyfriend, Dean Eastwood. Now his girlfriend chewed me out on Facebook earlier on, the stupid fat ugly slapper. But yeah, basically she didn't really like what I was going to say, but at the end of the day, if you don't like the video, don't watch it, it's quite simple. And like I told her, I'm trying to think of what I said to her. I was like, something like, I wouldn't fuck with me because I can do a lot of damage, basically. And she was like, oh, okay, fine, leave it then, leave it. Yeah, good. Glad you left it, love. Glad you did, yeah. So, I used to be with a guy called Dean Eastwood. And it was like okay to start off with, but he started getting very angry very quickly. I remember getting the train one day and I was coming back home from my accommodation past this now, this is where Dean lived. So I was coming back home one day on the train, and before I'd met Dean, there was this tall, hung travelling lad that was on the train, and he literally locked eyes onto me, like literally he did not stop looking at me. Now, when it comes to men and when it comes to being gay, I've never really had that before. And Dean, like, basically, like, looked at me, but not like looked at me in a way that I wanted a guy to look at me, but like was full on staring at me. So I didn't know who this guy was. He moved onto this carriage and he was like sitting a few seats ahead of me. I basically ended up saying, are you okay? Like, what's your issue? Why are you fucking staring at me for, bruv? And it turns down that he actually liked me. He actually fancied me. It turned out that he used to watch a lot of my YouTube channel, and he still does. And he basically come to sit near me on the train. Now, I didn't really think too much of it, to be fair. I just thought it was him being polite and nice, but he actually said no, he like really likes me. He was bisexual. He didn't want me to tell anyone. And I never did, but he was bisexual. But he had a girlfriend called Faye Eastwood. She also used to live in Diss also. Hi Faye, if you're watching. So basically, he was not only just playing with Faye Eastwood's emotions, he was playing with my emotions as well. Now, unfortunately, that is what you get if you're a gay bloke and you go near a straight bloke with a girlfriend. It's never going to happen. It's never going to be a bed of roses. I wouldn't even fucking go there, bruv, in the first place, because it ended up in absolute chaos and tears. Not only just for me, but for Faye as well. I do have respect for females that have got into a relationship with a straight bloke, but what Dean did to me in particular was unforgivable. So let me go into that whilst I just finish my tea. I'm currently on bacon and lentil soup with a lovely, my favourite waffle. So basically, Dean, let's cut to the chase a bit. So he invited me to Faye Eastwood's home, which he said was his, and it wasn't ever his house. He used to live in a place called Diss. He used to beat Faye Eastwood up really badly when I was there. Physically, emotionally scarred her. If she answered back, he would punch her. He would throw her about. He stopped his girlfriend from being able to eat properly. Yeah. She used to beg me to go to the supermarket when he was out to go and get her food, basically, because she had been starved for weeks, Dean Eastwood. Wasn't that right? Weeks. Yeah? Weeks. Dean Eastwood, not going to lie, back in the days, was a nasty, evil, twisted piece of work. I did used to love him quite a lot. I'm not scared of you now, Dean. Never have been, never will be, mate. And if you ever come near me again, mate, I'll put acid on your face. I don't give a fuck. Fucking horrible cunt. You heard. So, yeah. And trust me, I'd do it. After what he said to me as well. He said he was going to set me on fire. This is when I was homeless. And I was really vulnerable. And I needed the most help. He used to sleep with me in accommodation, which he basically made available to both of us. So he broke into this building. 2 seconds, guys. Shut up! Kun! Stop banging doors! Wanker! So he booted. Neighbour likes to bang doors, so they have to be told. So yeah, anyways. He used to make the accommodation available for me and him. So what happened was next is that I was obviously homeless. Dean had broken into a building to get me and him warm and safe, which was kind of him if you think about it that way. But one, I don't really trespass, and 2, it wasn't really necessary. Do you know what I mean? It was never a co-op. I'm trying to think now what it was called. Something market, Taveram Marketplace or something like that. I believe it was there, around there. Really nice posh area. Had a lovely co-op. It was in Norwich. Yeah, really nice place. But I unfortunately ended up homeless because Norwich City Council are absolute skanks, and they didn't want to help me. It's just years ago now. So I obviously went down to Norwich to meet Dean. We got together in that, and things were very dangerous. Things were bad. Like, you know, he spent nights with me in this building, but there was a point where he got fed up, and I don't blame him for being fed up, but what he did to me was absolutely unforgivable. So he was meant to be my boyfriend. He was meant to love me. What happened was, one night I was in my sleeping bag and we were sleeping at the top of a corridor in a warm building where it was like a shared private building, but it was warm, do you know what I mean? No one could see us. If people asked, we just said I was waiting for someone, do you know what I mean? So it wasn't much of an issue. I always kept myself clean. I was always showered. Even though I used to be homeless back in the days, I would never fucking stink, bruv. Never stink. I could never stink, do you know what I mean? I've been on the verge of homelessness before and I've never stunk. Never have, never will. So, yeah, I ended up in this building and me and Dean were literally at the top of this staircase. Now, what Faye Eastwood did one night was totally unforgivable. She called the police on Dean and me and said that we had broken into a building. No, I didn't, but Dean did. And she called the police. The police came up the stairwell, saw me sleeping there, asked me what I was doing and asked me to move on. They didn't arrest me. They just questioned me while I was in the building. So they moved me on and moved Dee on, and we obviously called each other and hooked up and then went back to that building a few weeks after. But yeah, they installed CCTV and they restored all of the doors that he broke, because he broke the big magnetic catches on the top of the door that obviously stopped you getting in for security reasons. So yeah, he broke all those, and that cost thousands of pounds worth of damage. He broke all the sensor lights in the ceiling. Didn't you, Dean? You did. Because when he tried to have sex with me once in the public hallway, yeah, giving me deep throat oral sex, he went up to the ceiling and smashed the absolute fuck out of the automatic lights, didn't you, Dean? Just so I could give you head in the hallway. Yeah, because it was raining outside. Yeah, I remember that. Dear me. But anyways, I did love Dean very much, not gonna lie, I really did. We had our ups, we had our downs. We weren't perfect, do you know what I mean? No couple is ever perfect, right? But I will just say, there was a few times we used to get into arguments over silly things. And Dean used to make me feel awful. Dean used to make me feel bad about myself. There was a particular night after he said that he was going to pour petrol on me and set me on fire. This is after a night of rough sleeping in a building. I could barely get no sleep. Dean didn't really seem to give a fuck because I was trying to get to sleep in my sleeping bag. He would sleep beside me. He was cuddling me most nights, but there was some nights that he would get pissed off that he was in that particular situation with me because he didn't have to be in that situation. He could have gone back home to Dis with his girlfriend Faye, but he decided not to. He decided to stay with me, stay in the building with me and look after me and keep me warm, which is really kind of him if you think about it. Not a lot of people do that for someone. He even went into Faye Eastwood's bank account and was spending her money on me to keep me fed and to put a roof over my head. Now that's really kind. Do you know what I mean? I don't begrudge him for that. But the things that I didn't used to like is when he would start arguing with me for no reason, would keep asking me for money. And there was a point where I was homeless in Norwich and my mum used to pump me down £700, £800 in an envelope like every few months or so, just to make sure I was okay and I was alive. And she knew back then I was with Dean, but she said to me, do not give any to him because it's your money, not his. So I said to my mum, no I didn't, and I never did give him any money. But there was one particular evening when he was in one of his moods and he had no tobacco at all, like no cigarettes. So I just remember obviously giving him some of my mum's money that he gave me. And he was absolutely horrible towards my mum. My mum didn't like him. He didn't like my mum. I think they spoke to each other briefly down the phone. And after my mum had spoken to him, I think my mum is old school. And if she would have met Dean in person, maybe, then she would have thought differently of Dean, because he did actually love me and hold. When, like, put it this way, when things were good on a good day, Dean would sit with me in his arms, and he came to Aylsham. He came to my flat. And he would sit there with me in a bare living room because I had no furniture and it was just temporary accommodation until I got moved into my new flat, my new house that I lived in, Lions Close on the edge of Blowfield. This is years after I got accepted for my house, right? So he used to cuddle me like really nicely. We had hot, passionate sex. That was amazing. I'm not going to begrudge him for the sex. The sex was absolutely fantastic. He did try with me. But I think back then I was young, I was like 19, 20, I was all over the place. I had a head of mixed emotions, and Dean sometimes would take it that step further to be, let's just say, the dominant one in the relationship. And that's fine, I've got no problem with someone being a dominant person in a relationship. But then this all falls back into the category of when Faye Eastwood turned around and said to me, you're with my fucking boyfriend, why are you with my boyfriend for? And the amount of times Faye, I think, yeah, it was Faye. Yeah, she started having me arrested. That fat ugly cow, didn't you, Faye? Yeah, you did. You started having me arrested. I was arrested 4 times, because she made shit up. She went to the police, said I assaulted her. I never did assault her at all. It was a point where me and Dean were together. She was unhappy about it. She even shouted rape at the top of her voice in her flat. This is a girl called Faye Eastwood. She's an absolute fucking psychopath and a maniac. And I had her benefits stopped ages ago because she doesn't need to be on benefits. And she literally forces councils to put her in a new house. As soon as she found out that I had my own 3-bedroom house years ago when I used to live in Blowfield, she weren't happy. She went on the attack of her local council and demanded a new place. But even when she got a new place, she basically she was not happy. She was even on. She's a bit of a psycho. She really is. Do you know what I mean? She used to be a lovely girl, but she's a bit of a psycho who sets their flat on fire and then accuses the next door neighbours. Yeah, we're talking about you, Faye Eastwood, sweetheart. And if you don't like it, you can fuck off. So yeah, Dean then tried to say to me one day, oh, Faye's making it all up. I do love you. I will always love you more than her. I will always be with you, babe. I love you so much. Come here, give me a cuddle. I don't begrudge him for that. He used to meet me in the library in the Forum in Norwich, and he used to come up to me, and I used to see him, and I just used to have a massive smile on my face because It was just nice to feel loved. Do you know what I mean? And I did trust him. And we'd been together for about 4 or 5 weeks after that. And things were going well. But his girlfriend found out. She went absolutely fucking mental, bruv. She hit the fucking roof. I'm not going to lie. She hit the roof like anyone would. Do you know what I mean? A girlfriend finding out that boyfriend has seen another guy behind their back. They're not going to be best and breasts, are they? No. So what she did something really horrible one night. She called the police again, and she said that I had raped her and that Dean Eastwood, her boyfriend, had raped her, was screaming out rape in the living room so all of her neighbours could hear. This is how psycho she is. 1, I never raped her. 2, Dean did. I didn't. I would not do that towards anyone, and I would never be brought up to do that. Do you know what I mean? So, and 2, I'm not into women, no offence. So yeah, she was screaming the whole flat down, shouting rape, 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 and all of this shit. Before you know it, Dean had cornered her in the corner of the living room, grabbed her by the throat and was like, shut the fuck up, you fucking bitch. You say another word and I'll fucking finish you. Do you fucking hear me? And he grabbed her by the throat, and I was in the corner. I was on the sofa and I was like, Dean, stop. And he went, you can sit down. And he come charging towards me when I sat on their sofa. He come charging towards me. I was like, you say the fuck, you shut the fuck up, you fucking puff. He was like, I'll fucking kill you right here, right now. And he went into the kitchen and he grabbed a kitchen knife, and I had to beg him to stop. I said, Dean, I said, look, I said, calm down. I said, I'm only looking out for your girlfriend. I said, she's upset. She's angry that you are with me. It's quite simple. So I'm quite lucky that I managed to calm Dean down and got him out of that situation, because otherwise I think he would have stabbed me or Faye, to be fair. All along, when I was with Dean Eastwood, it was like a vicious game that he played between me and Faye. So there would be days where he would lie to me and say that he loves me and I'm his world, and he would travel from Dis into Norwich to be with me. But then there would be other days, say for argument's sake, when I had money. They're the days he was nice. Then there would be his off days when I would be sleeping rough in the building, but then because I had no money, he said, look, I'm going to go back to Faye, I'm going to go and feed the cats, I'm going to go and spend some time with her for a bit. Do you know what I mean? So he kind of wanted to have his cake and eat it. Do you know what I mean? He loved the sex with me. The blowjobs were amazing for me, apparently. Thanks, Dean, I know they are. But, you know, I did love him. But towards the end of our relationship, I remember Faye coming round slowly to me, and me and Faye started to get on, didn't we, Faye? Yes, we did eventually. And then she actually slowly but surely accepted me and Dean being together. She didn't like it because it was her home, even though Dean lied to me to start off with, and they both picked me up from the train station years ago now. When I saw Dean, we got talking on Facebook, and then we got talking on, I think it was Grindr or something. Grindr, I believe, or something. No, it wasn't. No, let me think. No, it was Facebook. It was Facebook, yeah. Because it was Facebook today when they spoke to me again. I reached out to Dean recently just to say hello and that. But then he was just full of the nasty, I don't want to know, I've got a girlfriend now, I've got a missus. Now, let me just tell the world this. This Dean Eastwood was arrested for sexual assault on females. This Dean Eastwood battered a gay boy unconscious at Norwich train station. But when he battered this gay boy unconscious, it was a noise then. When he battered this gay boy unconscious, he was with me. He was in a relationship with me. So Faye pulled me to the side one day and said, Matthew, I'm not being funny. She said, you need to be careful of Dean. She said, I've known him far longer than I've known you. And one day, if you're not careful, he is going to kill you. And I was like, yeah, okay, Faye, fuck off. Do you know what I mean? I was like, fuck off, you fat bitch. Like, piss off. Do you know what I mean? But I slowly but surely started to realise that I didn't like it. But it suddenly dawned on me that Dean could be dangerous. So I went back to Norwich. I didn't think anything of it. And then Dean would constantly call me or constantly text me and ask to meet up with me, and he would not stop calling me. He would not stop texting me. I would see all the texts and calls, and the calls would be like the length of my arm, just asking me to meet up with him, begging me for oral sex, coming to meet me into the city centre of Norwich, coming to spend time with me. Now, I'll let you into another story. So I had spent some money on me and Dean when we went 10-pin bowling in Norwich. There was like this big open centre where we went to go 10-pin bowling. And I don't know what was wrong with him, but he was in a good mood at the time. But I believe some guys were staring at him funny or like that, and he copped a snot. So, you know when you play snooker, that's it. I beat him a few times. I don't think he was happy about it. So he got the cue ball off the table and was like throwing it. Then after he was throwing it across the floor at different people and all the tables, he then started hitting the fucking cue ball, the actual snooker balls, that hard, they come flying off the table, and one nearly hit me in my face. Yeah. So this is a person that is quite a chubby lad. Now, I don't mind chubby guys, do you know what I mean? My next boyfriend will be chubby. I'm like a girl deep down. I like bad boys, but like with a soft spot, do you know what I mean? But Dean in particular, he was a nice guy when he wanted to be, but he didn't hardly ever smile at anything or anyone. That's fine, neither do I. But the thing I didn't appreciate, Dean, was the constant mind games, the constant abuse, always trying to fuck me when I said no, and just messing me about, really, with a girl that you said that you loved. And then, wait for it, guys, it gets better. Faye recorded some of the conversations that she told me that she had with him a few days prior to meeting up with Dean again. And what Dean said about me was shocking. He was like, oh, I can't stand that fucking batty boy. I'm going to take all of his money off him. I don't even love him, Faye. He's just a bit on the side, you know that. I'm going to Norwich and having my fun with him, doing my dirty work on him. And then I'm coming back to this. Yeah. I don't think I'll be able to get his picture back up, but luckily, because he's blocked me and I've blocked him, but I think I took a screenshot of his face, so we'll see it. 2 seconds, guys. Yes, it is. Here it is. So this is the guy that I used to go out with. I am happy for him, do you know what I mean? I'm not this crazy, trust me, but this is who I used to go out with. That's his new girlfriend. I hope it works out for you, Dean, mate. I really do, because at the end of the day, in my eyes, regardless if it was years ago or fucking centuries or however long ago it was, mate, you are a dangerous person, and you know you're dangerous. You were looking up a woman's skirt in Wilkinson's. Remember that? Yeah, I do. And then I called security because they kicked you out of the store, and then you got arrested for it because I called the police on you. I'm not a grass, but you don't do that to women. This is another thing, guys, what he used to do. He used to sexually harass females. Didn't you, Dean? You did. You used to loiter about the supermarkets in Norwich, and he's got a massive cock, I'm not going to lie, so have I. I wouldn't lie. I wouldn't be telling you the truth if I was lying, but it's something like that. But yeah, mine's bigger than his. But yeah, he just used to stand on the corners going like that. And I believe at one point he was arrested for exposing himself to a female. Now, what he does, guys, to females is absolutely atrocious, and he should not be near a female again. Dean, you know that you will end up beating your girlfriend up. You beat Faye up in front of me. You forced her to walk up 18 flights of stairs a day. This is how horrible this guy is, guys. He used to force his girlfriend up the stairs. She could not walk. Faye Eastwood, bless her heart, he paralysed her from the waist down. They got into an argument and he broke her back and she could not walk. Isn't that right, Dean? Yeah, it is right. No female deserves that type of abuse, Dean. And if you would have done that to me, mate, I would have killed you. I really would have done. Because no female out there watching this deserves to have a man control them, to beat them up, to tell them what to do, to deprive them of necessities in life, such as food. Do you know what I mean? He put all of her food up on the top of the wardrobe in the kitchen and didn't allow her to have any, because it was said because she used to buy it for both of them, didn't you, Faye, darling? You did. But he would never let her have any. And I used to say to Dean, give her some food. She's starving. She is crying. She wants food. She is starving. Why are you doing this to her? And then he just turned around and said to me, she can rot. She can die. I don't give a fuck about her. The fat, ugly fucking bitch. Wasn't that right, Dean? And I hate to say it, guys, but it's kind of a good job that I came along when I did, because the situation between Dean Eastwood and his girlfriend at the time, as things progressed when I was in a relationship with Dean, got worse and worse and worse, to the point where I called the police, then Faye Eastwood called the police, and we both had to defend ourselves one day against this monster. He come back to her flat. He tried to smash the front door open, didn't you, Dean? Yes, you did. And we ended up calling the police at 1:45, 2 o'clock in the night, because he had held me and Faye Eastwood captive at her flat and wouldn't let us out. Went mental, started smashing up things. And when he saw the police, oh my God, he just hit fucking red. He just saw red, do you know what I mean? There'd be days we'd have arguments, me and Dean Eastwood, weren't that right? And I would literally run out into the middle of nowhere. I would run into a road, and I nearly got hit by a car ages ago. Yeah, because of Dean's arguments with me. He would just like argue with me, like in the middle of the road or the countryside. Yeah, didn't really seem to care. 2 seconds. Do you want to stop lumping up the stairs like a fucking gorilla? Twat! Piss me off. Got no respect. They really haven't. Anyways, where was I? Sorry. So yeah, basically, they just had literally no fucking respect for me. Dean didn't in particular. And yeah, long story short, things could have took a nasty turn for the worse. Dean could have ended up killing me, I'm not going to lie. We had an argument one particular day when I came into Norwich to see him. And we had a massive argument because I told him I disagreed with him the way that he was treating his girlfriend. And this is in the middle of Norwich train station. He turned around and was like, don't fucking tell me what to do. You're coming with me. If you don't come with me, then I'm going to push you on the train tracks. That is literally what he said to me, guys. He said, I am going to push you on those train tracks if you don't fucking come with me. And he did actually try and grab me, and he did actually try and push me. I'm not going to lie to you guys. He did try and grab me several times, and he tried to push me, and I had to stop him. So the reason why I've been single for 7 years now is for a very good reason. I'm not as gay as I used to be. I still do like men, but as you can imagine, yeah, been through quite a lot of drama in my life, especially with men. Yeah, neighbours, some people in Newcastle that smashed on my house up, those tossers. You ever come near me again, or fucking in Edinburgh, I will fucking knock you out. I'll send you flying, you fucking pricks. I really will. That traumatised me for a good 2.5 years. I had to have counselling, I had to have therapy, I had to have all sorts after that. I could not sit near a fucking window for 1.5 years after that. Yeah. Or because I asked these neighbours to stop putting their bikes up against my door. Do you know what I mean? But that's a different story. So, personal opinion now about Dean Eastwood. Do I think he's dangerous still? Oh yeah, very. Do I think Dean will ever change? I'll be perfectly honest with you, it's hard to tell because I'm not with him anymore. But, God's honest opinion, I think he will possibly end up hurting that girl. And I hate to say it because he will and because he can. You know, I'd like to think that he wouldn't beat her up or hurt her or rape her like he did rape Faye Eastwood. This is going to sound awful and I apologise. But there was one particular night I was trying to go to bed, and Dean had put the bed deliberately in the living room in front of Faye, which was his girlfriend. And he was like, oh, you're going to be homophobic now, you fucking slag, you fucking fat bitch, you know. And she was like, no, of course. And he used to threaten her, obviously, and to rub it in her face. And because she obviously had they're both split up, basically, and Dean chose me over her, which is wrong at the end of the day, because no man should ever leave no man should ever leave his woman for another man. But we're living in a bit of a fucked up world at the moment, and I could name some YouTubers, but for legal reasons I'm not going to, that are gay but then pull a straight bloke out of a straight relationship. And then, yeah, you've guessed it, guys, it just all goes to fucking shit, doesn't it? It does. So yeah, oh yeah, listen. Shame it weren't for Dean. But yeah, Dean did get locked up a few times, not gonna lie. I nearly did say something, but I'm not going to, because it could incriminate Dean Eastwood and I wouldn't want him getting arrested again. But all I'm going to say is Dean did something to Faye Eastwood which was completely and utterly despicable and unforgiving. I was in the room when I heard it all. I was in the room when I heard her screaming and her crying for him to stop, and he didn't. That's also traumatised me. But yeah, like I said, he put this big king-size bed in the living room, which Faye Eastwood, that was obviously her living room, and he did it on purpose to rub it in her face that he was going to be with me no matter what. And I'm glad that Dean was happy with me back then, I'm not going to lie. But what he did to his girlfriend was not very nice. Do I think that he's a danger to women? Oh yeah, 100%. Do I think that he's going to lash out and hurt this new woman that he's with? I'd like to think not, because he told me today on Facebook that he'd changed. But I'll be perfectly honest with you, I think he possibly would. I think he would end up hurting her, I'm not going to lie. Because I hate to say it, Dean is that type of person, and once he gets a beat being his bonnet, he just fucking lashes out, do you know what I mean? So yeah, we're just going to look at Dean Eastwood now, because he did message me earlier on. We'll show you, hang on. We're going to unblock him just so we can see the profile.